What's going on, Crobat? Crobat for the win here today, bringing you a battle, a GBA Week 10 match versus Shady Penguin on YouTube. This was a fantastic battle. I mean, fantastic. It was very close, I'll just tell you that. It came really down to one play, as you're going to see. One prediction on either side, and this is for a solid first place in the Kanto Conference. I think, unless I lost by maybe 6, I think I'd still technically hold first. But he's also playing to not end up being beaten out by the Sharpedos. So we'll see how this goes, I guess. I'm going to lead with Jolteon as he leads with Breloom. I'm going to just go for the big Volt switch just to get some solid damage off. I figured he wouldn't switch into Mamoswine in the first turn. And I knew he was going to probably go for the Spore. So I just switched into Gliscor, and I knew I could also take any of his attacks, which is also a bonus. He decides to go into Mamoswine, which is fine, I suppose. I mean, it's not good for Gliscor, but I'll switch right on out of there. I'm going to go into Gyarados. Get the Intimidate off, and I figured he's probably just going to go for the Stealth Rock, so I may as well get this thing in before it gets up those Stealth Rocks. Well, he's going to switch now, which is just fine. He goes into this thing. He goes into Noivern. I just get the Waterfall off. I was just going to play it safe. There's no need to overpredict too much this early. Besides, it does a pretty okay amount of damage. I can't complain too much. He just goes for the U-turn, predicting my switch, but I stay in, and I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave on this incoming Arcanine, which works out really well, because a paralyzed Arcanine is great. That's great. This thing's usually pretty fast. Even though it's probably a wall, it's still fairly fast. Now I know my Empoleon can outspeed it, which is amazing. I'm going to switch out, though, because I don't like being intimidated, and that thing's probably a physical wall. Probably going to just end up going into Empoleon, which is the secant of X. How fun. I get to hopefully just set up some Stealth Rocks, or go for a Defog, or something like that. I go for a Defog first, because that's most important. My team's a little bit Stealth Rock weak. I kind of thought maybe he'd go for the Will-O-Wisp, and if he did, that's fine. Burn's not too detrimental to Empoleon. It has no physical attacks. That's once again, just fine. I'm going to set up Stealth Rocks now, as he goes into... No, I'm just going to go for Scald. Whoops. I will set up Stealth Rocks eventually, but that Scald's not going to do too much, but it's going to get the burn, which is amazing. Thank heavens for that burn. Wow, that was really lucky, and I'm really glad I got it, because that just puts my Empoleon in a much better place. I'm going to switch out and go into Gliscor and hope to burn a turn or two, or sleep, but he's just going to get the Bullet Seed off. Bullet Seed's not going to do much at all, especially since Gliscor is so physically bulky, first of all. Second of all, it's burned. Well, I know I can take on this Breloom pretty well. He's going to switch out, probably into Mamoswine, or, what's this thing called, or Crawdaunt. I thought he'd switch into either of them, but I know he really can't set up since I have bulky waters galore, so I am just going to go into Gyarados, hoping to get the Intimidate off. He's probably going to go for the knockoff, which is bad, but I mean, I really can't do too much about it at this point. I just have to roll with the punches. Gyarados has to take a sacrifice for the team. Well, he goes into Breloom now as I set up a Dragon Tail, which is good, because Gyarados gets a KO. There you go. Breloom's gone. I'm up 6-5. This is going okay so far. I can't complain too much. He goes into this Arcanine, and because of the Intimidate, I am going to switch out. I'm going to go into Gliscor, because I figure he can't do too much, but he's going to make a great prediction and double switch out into Mamoswine. That was a nice play. Props to you, Shady. I'm going to have to switch out into Gyarados, get the Intimidate off at least. He's going to get the Icicle Crash, which is bad, because it's going to do a solid amount, but the Intimidate really does help in this case. I see he's Life Orbed, which is fine. He's going to be wearing himself down slowly, I guess. Now he goes into Arcanine, and I'm not liking this because of the Intimidate, but I know he's also paralyzed, so I can definitely go into Empoleon, hope to maybe get a KO or something. That would be amazing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into Empoleon, because, I don't know. It's burned, so it's not like it can get another status, and none of its moves are going to do that much. Look, he just goes for the extreme speed, doesn't even do much to Empoleon. This is especially defensive. So, that's pretty cool. He doesn't have any physical attacks. Here, I actually predicted him to switch into Noivern. Not really a huge deal, because, I mean, I didn't lose out in too much. I lost a turn of health, but in the long run, it's not really going to affect anything. Now I'm just going to set up the Stealth Rock, because I thought he might switch again into Noivern, predicting my Scald. I thought for sure he'd do that. But, you know what, Stealth Rocks aren't a bad thing. That's certainly not... I'm okay with that. Now here, I am just going to play it safe. I think he just might stay in. I'm just going to go for the safe Scald. There's no reason not to at this point. And it almost KOs, but it doesn't quite. Oh, that's just awful. Oh, Lord. Why is there only 1 HP there? I don't know. But he's slower, so I could just go for another Scald. Didn't think he was going to switch. That thing Stealth Rock's up. It's paralyzed. He was probably going to go for the Morning Sun. So that's good. At least we got that out of the way. Up to 5-4 because Empoleon is going to go down, which is, I don't know if it's worth it, but maybe because that thing had Intimidate, maybe it is. Now here's the most crucial play of the match. I go into Scrafty, and I really strongly predicted his U-turn because I know Air Slash is obvious. I thought he was going to U-turn, but he actually goes for the Air Slash. Oh no, my only strong chance of winning this game, because he has a huge fighting weakness. It's all over. No, no. There goes my fighting type. And Intimidate user. Oh gosh, one of them anyways. I have to go into Jolteon to hopefully clean up the mess, but this is really righteous. He's gonna go for Hidden Power Fighting on this Mamoswine, and it's going down in health. Now it's just going to get an Ice Shard off, but it does about half, so I can't complain that much. This Jolteon just did a little bit of work. He was impressed with the Hidden Power Fighting. That was pretty cool on my part to make that, and I'm glad I did. Now here, I'm going to stay in. I know he is Aqua Jet, but I'm going to stay in. I thought maybe he'd try to Dragon Dance, and if I stayed in and went for Thunderbolt, then that would be amazing, but it didn't happen. I probably could have switched into Gyarados first, and then gone back into Jolteon to take something, but oh well, I digress. He goes into Tyranitar now, which is just fine, I suppose. So I don't know why he didn't stay in with that thing, but I'm not gonna complain, as I can get a Thunder Wave off from this Tyranitar. Unfortunately, it probably will end up breaking through Paralysis and Flinch Chance from Waterfall. Well, as you're gonna see, it gets the weakness policy, which is awful. That is not fun in the slightest, and I'm fearing that it might also have Ice Beam, so I definitely can't go into Gliscor. I'm going to go into this thing and hope that with that paralysis I can get a sub up and stay safe against this Crawdaunt. But now I learn he has Crunch, so I definitely am going to have a harder time doing that. I have to rely on 25% Hacks chance. I also have to keep in mind the Sandstorm is here, and I have Life Orb. So those are two things I'm definitely going to have to worry about. I don't know what to do at this point. I tried to go for the sub twice, but I end up failing. Gosh, that's not a good thing, and I really can't go for it again, because if I do that, then I'm just going to get KO'd by Life Orb after one attack. At least the Hidden Power Fighting KOs the Tyranitar, I guess, but he's just going to go into Crawdaunt. I'm going to get Aqua Jetted in the face. That's unfortunate. Last thing I need is to be Aqua Jetted in the face. Oh gosh, so Chandelure goes down. I got a KO, I guess, so that's pretty cool. I only got Gliscor left. Things are looking pretty bleak at this point, but if I can make it a 1-0, that would be amazing. He's going to get the Aqua Jet off and nail a crit! I mean, it didn't really matter in terms of victory, because I know I would have lost, but I would have had enough health to KO with an Earthquake next turn, so I figured I'd just go for the knockoff, so with the Life Orb and everything. I would have had enough health after a couple protects, or after a protect, to be able to just KO with an Earthquake. And once again, I'm not going to complain too much about that. I would have only had a Crawdaunt KO, and his last Pokemon would have just finished everything off, his Noivern. But it would have been nice to call us a 1-0, but it was still a really close 2-0 match. It was that one prediction in the middle of the game that really determined it. If I'd predicted that Scrafty thing better, I'm pretty sure I would have had a victory, because I was setting up Dragon Dances right then and there. I don't know, it's the road not taken, I guess. The what ifs in history. What ifs looking back. Hindsight 2020. What can you do? He made a great play, and there were a bunch of good plays on both sides of the entire match. So it really was a solid game. I was very happy with it after, just because it was a good game. Winning or losing isn't always everything. Sometimes it's just having a good game and having fun, you know, stuff like that. So we're going to actually play again next week for playoffs in GBA, and we'll see how that goes. I haven't beaten Shady yet this season, so I don't know if that means anything to anyone. I don't know, I'll have to maybe try to reverse that. We'll see. That's pretty much it for today, though. Rate, comment, subscribe, Crobats, and peace out.